Hi, this is Eddie Hearn, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. I'm delighted to be joined by Spencer Oliver. We've just had the weigh-in for Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. Before we talk about the fight and a few other things in boxing, Spencer, congratulations on broadcasting the first episode of Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan. I watched it, brilliant watch. Simon Jordan, he just says it as it is. What's it like working with him on a daily basis?
I like working with Simon. Like you say, he's a straight shooter. He says it as it is, and that's what a lot of people love his honesty. He's a Marmite guy, isn't he? You either love or hate him, and I think that, you know, a lot of people love him. He's enthusiastic about the sport. He loves the sport of boxing, hence why we come up with this idea. You know, Simon really wanted to do that show, Talk Boxing. You can get that on the Talk Sport. You can get that on the Talk Sport YouTube channel.
It's growing massively.
Yeah, it is, mate. And it's just good, man. We had a really good response to the first one. It's out every Wednesday, and looking forward to working with Simon more. That boxing hour we do on a Thursdays, you know, equally is popular.
Definitely look forward to episode number 2 this coming Wednesday next week.
Yes.
Just want to go over a few things that Simon had to say in regards to the whole Conor Benn situation. He labelled Eddie Hearn as a coward. Now, I've just heard you do an interview and you let a lot out, which is rightfully so. But what's your thoughts on how Eddie Hearn's approached this whole Conor Benn failing a drug test situation?
He hasn't done anything, has he? That's the problem. He hasn't said anything, so it's sort of like you start sort of getting a bit frustrated with it, because obviously it is like a hot topic, and questions need to be answered. And how long does it take? You know, like we're in a situation where Conor Benn, who's a good mate of mine, and I know that he's going to be really pissed off because all the interviews we're doing or whatever tested positive, and all we're hearing is, give him a chance to, you know, it's with his legal team, etc., etc., etc. Positive test, a positive test, mate, and it was for the fertility drug, and it's just, I don't see how he does clear his name, but also we do need to hear from the other side, because it's like, you know, you're at the stage where you're going, well, why are we not hearing anything? Do you know what I mean? Like, how, you know, if you're going to clear your name, we need to hear a little something. And I know Eddie's been sort of quite vocal about saying, you know, certain people are being very vocal over this and very vocal over that. Well, it is what it is at the moment. It stands as it stands. So we're going to be vocal until, you know, we're proven wrong. You know, you can't say, give the guy a chance and everything else, because he tested positive. So, you know, I'm sort of quite passionate about it, really, because of, you know, the situation with Eubank having to make a certain weight, which was very dangerous. You know, I'm better placed to talk about this than anybody, mate. Like, I nearly lost my life in the ring, so I know the dangers that can occur from, you know, dehydration, and he was in that situation. And if this is the case, and he has tested positive, so, you know, that potentially could be really dangerous. That's why his dad senior was so vocal about it, and now it all makes sense.
Do you believe that, obviously, Chris Eubank Sr., as you said, was very vocal before the fight, how he didn't want it to happen, and then there's obviously rumours that Conor Benn may have failed a drug test earlier on during his career. Yeah. Do you think that Chris Eubank Sr. may have known something like this was going to come out?
Absolutely. You know, it sort of makes sense that maybe Chris did know. Maybe other people knew. Who knows? Who knows exactly who knew? Maybe it was a big cover-up. Why did we only hear, like, sort of at the final hour? You know, what was going on there, you know, with the Boxing Board of Control, with the promoters, you know, like, you know, even when this came out, they were still trying to make the fight. And the promoters were going, well, you know, we've spoke to different people and medical people and da-da-da, and we're still happy for the fight to go ahead. You go, wow, God forbid something happened to Junior in that fight because of what's going on, because of what's happened and the weight that they've made him make. How would that look on the sport? That would be fucking outrageous. So I'm glad it was pulled when it was.
Obviously, I was out of the country last week, so I wasn't present at fight week, but from what I gathered on social media, that the promoters of the fight tried to do whatever they could to make that fight happen. Now, let's just say roles reversed. This was a boxer show or a Sky Sports show or Top Rank, anyone else. What would your initial reaction would have been in that situation when you found out a fight has failed a drug test?
Pull the fight. You know, like, you're going to have to pull the fight, because like I say, it leaves a grey area over the sport. God forbid something happens. You know, I think we was looking at this, It was a fight I was excited about, if I'm honest. It was a fantasy fight we thought we'd never get. But my initial thoughts were, no, like, and then I was thinking, how bad is this? You know, what has he fouled for? Because it was uncertain first what it was about. And I'm thinking, they're not going to pull the fight. The fight is going to go ahead, whether they do it under a different board or whatever. I thought the fight was still seriously going to go ahead. But it never, and probably for the best reasons. Otherwise, we might have been doing an interview about something totally different. So I think for the sake of the sport, for the sake of Chris Eubank Jr., and you know what you saw that photo of him making weight and how he looked making weight. He was he looked too drained, mate. So I think it's worked out for the best. It's obviously gutted that we didn't get the fight, and but it is what it is.
Right, moving on, we've got a big fight tomorrow night for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world between Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall, which has obviously been rescheduled due to the unfortunate passing of the Queen. But you have obviously been a fighter before. What does that do differently when you get so close to fight week, when the fight's about to happen, but then the fight gets postponed and gets pushed onto a later date?
Well, you've just got to go away, regroup, take a week out, let your body come down a little bit and then try and peak again. It's very difficult to do in like a 4 or 5 week process because you've reached that peak and then you've got to come down and reach it again. So it is a difficult thing to do, but testament to all these girls on the bill because they've all come back. We've still got a solid bill, exactly the same bill, and every girl says that they're more focused and more determined. They've actually had more stuff to work on. So I think this is actually going to be better than it was originally. 4 or 5 weeks ago, so when I've spoke to every girl here since then, like so we was on the last fight week and you spoke to them this one, they seem more determined. Every girl wants to steal the show. Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall is going to be an absolute barnstormer, and then you've got the chief support that's going to be equally as good in Michaela Meyer and Alicia Baumgardner. That one actually could steal the show. And then you look down the list, you've got like Lauren Price, Olympic gold medalist on there, Karis Arkenstall, Olympic bronze medalist on there. You've got some mad Caroline Dubois who just missed out on a medal but is an unbelievable talent. So the card's stacked.
Yeah, it is. It makes for a great night of boxing, and as you mentioned, the co-main event as well has had a lot of needle. But I was speaking to, I think it was Big Mo earlier on during the day, and he mentioned how promoters need to come together, and he's also spoken about how both Alicia and Michaela are not with Sky Sports or Boxer, but yet you still managed to get the fight on your platform. Is this something different that you guys are going to be looked to doing now, is getting more fighters from different platforms onto your platform, Sky Sports and Boxer?
Well, I hope so. I hope that all the promoters, it makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? And then the fans get the fights that they want. It doesn't always, it's like if the promoters are working together, you're going to get some fights going on, on BT. You're going to get fights going on Sky Sports, Sky Sports Boxing, channel. You're going to get those fights. You're going to get fights going on DAZN. What I'm saying is, if the promoters work together, the fans are the winners because they're the ones that they get these fights, because you get some champions that are with one promoter, another champion with another promoter. I think what Frank Warren and what Ben Shalom has showed in recent times, Joseph Parker against Joe Joyce, etc., is that they are willing to work together, and if they work together, we're going to get better shows.
Speaking of promoters working together, it seems as if that any hope of a mega showdown, a British-UK heavyweight showdown between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is now pretty much dead in the water. I know you probably get fed up with asking this question, so I'm not going to ask you why it never happened. I'm going to ask you what should happen next. We understand Tyson Fury and Derek Chisora could be set for December the 3rd. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does that fight, a third fight between Fury and Chisora, excite you?
Listen, Derek's a mate and he's in my gym, so look, I'm glad he's got the opportunity again, Derek, and he's deserved it after a long, hard career. He's put in some good performances, coming off that win against Pulev. Yeah, look, he was the next best opponent for Tyson Fury. If you go through the list, and there was no one else available, so Fury's decided to give Chisora the opportunity. He's given us some good nights, Chisora. You look through over his career, he's given us some good nights, so good luck to him. Let him have one more roll of the dice, that's what I say. I think it's a great opportunity for him. And let him go for it. We've got Wilder back in the mix against Hellenius. He's going on Saturday. Looking forward to that one. Find out what he's got left. If he's got anything left, we could see Wilder against Anthony Joshua. We could see they're the sort of fights that we want to see. But we're still craving that big fight. We just haven't got it yet. But look, Chisora, Fury. For me, I go, well, it's going to be a fight. Chisora's going to give it. He's going to have a go, and that's it.
Given the fact where Tyson Fury is in his career right now, the undefeated WBC heavyweight champion of the world, ambassador for mental health, at what point after this Chisora fight do you expect Tyson to be in that mega fight with an Alexander Usyk or an Anthony Joshua? Surely 2023 has got to be the year where we see those mega fights, given the fact that the Wilders, the Furies, the Joshuas are all getting older slowly.
March, I see it happening in sort of like March, April time. We're going to see Fury Usyk. I think Usyk's just coming back from injury. That'll be Usyk's next fight, Tyson Fury. I think Fury just wants a tick-over fight, warm-up fight, December the 3rd. Chisora, is going to give him rounds, that's for sure. And that's probably why he's chose Chisora as the opponent. So, look, yeah, I think we'll see the undisputed heavyweight title between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, probably March time, maybe April.
One final question before I let you go, Spencer. Give me a prediction for tomorrow night's main event for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world.
That's the toughest question you've
Sounded
asked
like
me
Ric Flair there.
That's the toughest question you've asked me so far. Who wins that? I'm going to go with our girl, Savannah Marshall. I'm going to, I like the momentum she's got in the moment. I like what Peter Fury's done with her. He's developed her not just as a fighter, but he's developed her confidence as well. For all those reasons, I'm going for Savannah Marshall to win on points.
Spencer Oliver, pleasure as always. Thank you very much for talking to Lights Out.
Thank you, mate.